Okay, in today's video we're going to have a look at the file and folder naming settings on Panasonic Lumix cameras and reasons why you might want to use them and sort of how to do it. And this feature is available quite widely on sort of Lumix cameras that have been available in the last 5 or 6 years. You know, it's there in the Panasonic GH5, it's there in the G9, it's there I believe in almost all the S series cameras. And in newer cameras like the, or newer video cameras like the GH6 and the GH7, there is an option called Cine file naming. And I have done a video about that, so I'll link about that. But in this specifically, we're just looking at the file and folder naming. So what we'll do is switch the camera on and we'll find it in the menu first up. So first thing you want to do is hit the menu button, and then you'll want to go to the spanner or the wrench. And then the next icon kind of looks a bit like a clipboard. It's the card and file menu. And then you can see here we've got file and folder settings. And there are two reasons why you potentially might have this grayed out. The first one is if you don't have any cards in the camera. So you'll see now when it comes back after that memory card warning, if we go back in, you can see it's grayed out. We click on it, it says this can't be set. The reason for that is because the cards need to be in the camera, so you can tell the cards what to kind of write. And then if you put the cards in, you'll also find when you first load them up, you'll get this editing sort of error. It's just basically saying that the cards are doing something. So if you try and do this straight after startup, you'll find that you just need to wait for a minute and it will sort itself out. And then once that's all done, you can click on the folder and file settings. And then you'll see in here we've got a few options. So the first one, we can select a folder. And these are the folders that have been written into my card. And you can kind of see the structure here. Let me just re-hold this, quite heavy with this lens on it. You've got the 100_Pana, 101_Pana, and so on. I think I might have deleted 103 because I've been doing kind of burst shots and things. And essentially, the camera just increments this number, and then the underscore in this name can be changed, but you can basically tell it what you want to put it, which folder you want to put it into, but generally it creates a new folder when the folder's full. So what we can do is if we go to create a new folder, so you could use this, let's just say every time you want to do a project, and for some people that might be multiple projects a day if they're doing say like a property shoot, for example, something like that. So you could say create folder, and if you just create the _Pana, it's just that would create folder 5. So we could do that, and you can see there it's created 105 Pana. So that's fine, you could do that, or if you want to have it as something a bit easier to remember, you could go into change. The thing here, just remember to keep the underscore at the start. And you're able to go in, and if you want, you can delete that. And you could just put something in like, you're essentially restricted to 4 characters with this. So let's say, for example, we'll keep it with like the theme of somebody doing the houses, so, or the property shoots. So you could do HO1, you can still see we haven't got the set button there because we haven't quite got 4 characters in there yet. And you can actually come over to this one here, and that will flip you into that. So you've got numbers as well. So we could do something like, say, we want it to be house 1, or, just an example. And then you're able to set that. So it's created a folder called 106 house 1. And in here, you're able to select that. So that's sort of there for you to do. I'm going to, I created an extra folder by accident. I'm actually going to go back to 105 because I've got some stuff in there at the moment. But yeah, you essentially can come in and you can just create folders, whatever you want. So if you're starting a new project or you've got a few projects, you can do this before you even start shooting and then just assign the folder names at the time. So that just gives you an option to do a bit of organization on the go before you offload your files, and it can make life a little bit easier. So that's quite a nice thing that you're able to do. And the other option, we've got the file name setting, And you can see here, by default, you'll be using folder number link, and that's basically, you saw the numbers that we were, or the folder numbers that we were kind of building up. So it was like P101, P105, so on, you know, P100 was the original. And then basically it just does like increments for the file name afterwards. So that's the start of the file name plus incremented numbers. And that's generally okay. The only reason you might run into problems there is when you're doing things like multicam shoots. So whether you're shooting with someone else or you're just shooting multiple cameras yourself with like one locked off or something, what you might find is that the folder number link actually writes in the same ones across the cameras. So you'll end up with two different shots from two different cameras that are actually different shots, that have the same file name. So they'll be trying to overwrite each other, but they're not the same shot, they're different shots. So that's where it starts to get a bit confusing. So you can come down to something like user settings, and you can see here, so the default was Pana again, but the option that actually gives you, it just says Anna. So the P is is burnt into it, like you can't change that. That's a prefix default. So you've got 3 characters that you can change there. So what you can do is you can come in and you could maybe call it, so if we're saying we're doing like multicam, we can come in, we can delete those. And this this pad can be a little bit fiddly. It's a bit like sending a text message on a phone if you're old enough to remember that. So you could call it C, and then because the next letter that we want is actually A, you can't then press it again or it changes it back to A. So you have to go to C, and then you can just press the button there. If I can hit it, it's there, and then that will move you on to the next one, and then you can do A. And what I would normally do is you can't do cam because then you you won't be able to differentiate. So what I do is I do CA and then a 1. So that's, to me, that's camera 1. It looks kind of strange when you bring it out of there. So if we hit set, you'll see it's PCA1 because it's always P for Panasonic, which isn't always a bad thing because they do shoot across other cameras sometimes. So it's useful just to know that it's the Panasonic one anyway. But yeah, to me, in my brain, that's Panasonic camera 1, and then, you know, on the others you can have PCA2 and things like that. And then if you ever want to reset it back to what it was originally, just delete all of that, and then you just do A, N, A, and like I say, just come back and you can see now it's Pana. So it's just back to how it was. And if you ever just want to go back to the way it was originally saving them, the P in the folder name, you just go back up to the folder number link, and then that's done. And you might find, you know, if you don't ever kind of shoot multicam stuff, or you don't do anything where you need to separate the folders, you know, you're just shooting stuff and you're happy to just have it in one folder and just organise as you go, that's fine. But for me, I mean, the reason I made this video, I thought I'd already done one about this kind of stuff, but I'd done one about cine file naming. And in that video, I kind of told a story where I'd been doing a shoot with another person. We both had a GH5. This is going back a long time ago, but we basically did a 4-day shoot. They were long days, about 8 hours a day. Some of them were. And on the first day, we forgot to set the file names. So I'm offloading. I was the one doing the dailies and the quick edits for the day, and it's about 10, 11 o'clock at night. I'm offloading all this footage, and then I realised that all the prefixes are, we've got the Pana folder names and we've got the P folder name for the files. So I'm trying to get all this stuff merged together, and there's loads of conflicts with overwriting files that have got the same file name. Some of the folders had the same names. So I mean, it was all resolvable, but it's not ideal. It's so much quicker if you just know what camera A files are and what the camera B files are. And it may be more complex than that. You may have like 4 cameras or something. So you just want to know which one is which. This is before you've even got it into the edit. You're just trying to organise the files and get everything in the right place. If it's just, if you're using 2 cameras, one locked off and one you moving around, this might not be an issue, but like I say, this was footage from we were independently shooting different things. I needed to get all the timings together. I needed to get all the shots in the right place and work out where everything was supposed to be, and that was just like a hurdle before I could even get on and start doing that. So it's definitely worth thinking about if you're ever going to do multicam, or even if, like say, you do multi-projects a day. It really does like save a little bit of time on the back end of just a file organization, getting things into the edit and doing all of that side of it. So yeah, hopefully you found that helpful. If you have, please give the video a like. If you want to see more content like this, check out the Panasonic Lumix playlist on this channel, and please subscribe.